Oh, this is off the bench. Guys, I'm getting an echo on this side. Are we better now? We are better now. Back at full strength. I'm your host, Kelsey. I'll find over here. To my left, we have co-host Richie.
Good morning.
Of course, across from us, we have Pops. He is off screen, off the camera, but he's still going to be a part of the show. That mic is still on, right, Dad?
Check.
All right, there we go. Okay. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Of course, we have Bugsy and Walker back at the studio holding down the fort for us. How you doing, guys? Bugsy's a little perturbed. We didn't ask her how she was doing at the start of the show. We regret that. That was harsh. Just remember, we do have donations set up on YouTube. You can donate to the show. Hashtag at Off the Bench CFB show on Cash App, and all of those directly proceeded to Bugsy's food for the night.
She woke up on the wrong side of the bed, didn't she?
Yes. It also proceeds to Walker's food. Yes. Okay. All right, guys, let's get into it. We got a fun, action-packed game of college football today. Guys, I'm getting an echo again. So we're having to power through the issues here. Just having a fun time this Saturday morning. And hopefully we get to the show started off on a full strength.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of games today. A lot of ranked versus ranked.
Hey, guys, we're still getting an echo on this side. And now it's gone.
There we go.
Okay. All right. We are ready to go here. Ready to talk some games. So last night we had a jarring showdown between Louisville and Miami.
We did.
And it was I caught the last 2 minutes of the game. I was peeing at a local high school football game last night, and we'd flipped the game on. It was fourth quarter. It was fourth quarter for us too, and we had caught. I think the Carson Beck had thrown a pick. They called it back, from my understanding, and then a couple minutes later, he threw another pick and essentially ended the game for Miami. So I don't know what the implication of what happened beforehand, but I know this: Miami lost at home.
Right. So that was not the first pick or the second pick
or the third
pick that Carson Beck had thrown. Technically, he threw 5. One of them got called back on what I would call a very iffy, if at all, roughing the passer, because the lineman landed with his weight on him on his side. But they threw the flag. It's fine. Whatever.
Was that an SEC officiating crew?
No, because apparently the ACC officiating allows you to listen in when they do reviews back at the booth, and we will definitely talk about that when we get closer to talking about Auburn later today. And I have a thought on reviews, but I will save that take for a little bit later. Louisville came out of the gate with trick play after trick play after trick play. I think they threw 3 trick plays in the first quarter, one of which was 3 quarterbacks on the field at the same time. Miami at no point in time ever recovered and felt comfortable in that game.
They looked lost. I mean, when Louisville went up 14-0, it was like, whoa, what is happening? We're losing at home 14-0.
And that's Miami's crowd is one of those that if you get up on them at home, they disappear, which is like another team we will talk about later today, Ole Miss. But I'm not foreshadowing anything for later today. But the defensive line for Louisville had Carson Beck seeing triple. He did not know where he was. He thought he was back in Athens at one point in time. It was just, they were off.
So what do you think, Richie? Do you think that the ranking of Miami, since they lost at home, where do they come out Sunday morning?
I think they are still, obviously we got a ton of
football today.
I think there's 6 ranked versus ranked games. The SEC has 3 of those. SEC has 10 ranked teams. 6 of them will play each other today. The other 4 are on the road. So obviously there's a lot that could happen today. I would still put Miami at worst 6th.
Yeah.
I think they're still a better team. I think they just struggled. Texas Tech, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss and Miami, I think, are all going to be put a name in a hat and draw out. That's number 5. That's number 6. That's number 7.
So right now, as we said, who's the best one-loss team?
Oh, that I would say the Alabama Crimson Tide, but I get called being biased for that. But I mean, how many other teams this year have won 3 consecutive games against ranked opponents.
Yep.
I mean, Ohio State, Indiana, and Miami before yesterday had 0 ranked opponents left on their schedule.
I think I saw a stat yesterday. I know, Kels, we're varying here, but saw a stat yesterday where like the Big Ten, the top teams had 4 ranked games left in their entire schedule.
Right.
And Bama's got, 5 left in the schedule,
Yeah.
their existing own schedule. And the same could be said for a couple of other SEC teams as well.
Well, and we'll have a big matching test today against Tennessee, of course, 3rd Saturday in October, happening tonight. And that's going to show a test for 2 of the best one-loss teams in the country.
Absolutely.
And, I do want to talk about it and get into the direct Heisman implications that loss has on Carson Beck's resume. I mean, Carson Beck was leading the country in the odds for Heisman votes with of course with Ty Simpson and Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Smith, and players of this stature. I think Julian Sain has now jumped up on that board as well. But Ohio State's going to have the issue at the end of the season. Who do they have up there? It's going to be Smith or it's going to be Sain. It won't be both.
Right.
So the direct implications are there. I mean, if Ty can essentially continue doing what he has done over the past couple of weeks, knock off another ranked opponent, then it could be good fortune for Ty Simpson leading the country in the future for that.
And I going back to the game last night, one player does not lose a game at all, ever. They can win a game. I've seen that happen many a time, but one player does not lose a game. But the way Louisville had Carson Beck spinning, that they made him look pedestrian at best. And so with that being a standalone game, the hype started rolling. You had more eyes and more eyes on that game last night than you will with today being so spread out. It did not look good for him, and I think that probably very much hurt his Heisman his hopefuls, especially because who else do they play where he could have that Heisman moment? Mm-hmm. You're talking about somebody like Ty Simpson. You've got Tennessee. You still have LSU on the schedule. You still have the Iron Bowl. You still have plenty of time for somebody like a Ty Simpson to go out there and have that one shining moment. We're a little early for that phrase, but and to be able to put it together. So it was not a good look for Carson Beck last night.
John Paul hitting us up on the socials, YouTube specifically. You could do the same. Hit us up on YouTube. Just hit it up in the comments section. We'll see it pop up here on the screen, and we'll give you a little shout here, and we'll talk some football with you. You can also do so at Off the Bench on Facebook. You can also get your pick'ems in there as well. So John Paul hit us up, and he said, how is Alabama the best one-loss team when their one-loss team is an unranked team who hasn't even won a game in their own conference?
6 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was 6 weeks ago. But also, you got to talk about who are the other one-loss teams in the country.
Georgia,
who Alabama beat. Okay, Oregon,
who got
Oregon, LSU. LSU's had difficulty.
I think we're going to learn about LSU a lot today.
Yes, I think we will as well. Of course, Tennessee on that side. Here we go.
Yep.
Here's the common
Andy, Missouri.
With Tennessee,
we beat both of them.
Yeah. With Tennessee, you got to talk about common opponents when we're at this point right before this game. Obviously, we'll see the outright today, but the common opponent that I think of first is Georgia.
Right.
Georgia beat Tennessee.
Yep.
Alabama beat Georgia.
By the transitive property of math.
Then Alabama is the better team. Notre Dame's got 2 losses. They're out of this. Oklahoma, with their 1 loss being to Texas, that's a poor Texas team. So how do you can't really sit there and say Oklahoma is a better 1-loss team than Alabama. Missouri, Alabama beat. Vanderbilt, Alabama beat. Virginia, I don't know how I would rank Virginia in there.
Virginia who?
Although they beat Florida State, so here's your transitive property coming back to beat you.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think the timing of that, like I said, it was 6 weeks ago that you lose to Florida State. This team does not even closely resemble, especially on the defensive side. You do not, for whatever reason, week 1, there was no hustle. There was no fight in that defensive team. And here we are, like I said, 6 weeks later, and you held Georgia to 0 points in this, it's just they've stepped up and showed up. So as of today, yes, very, very true. 2 weeks or 5 weeks ago, week 2 of the season, you're right. Bama, everybody was selling their Alabama stock.
Yeah.
Here we are 5 weeks later, and the stock seems to be rising. The teams in front of Alabama seem to be not being able to hold up to the pressure, i.e. Miami last night, to go back to the game we started this whole conversation with. And the phrase that you're going to hear all day today is, this team's going to have an opportunity to really show what they're made of. You brought up Notre Dame being a 2-loss team. Yes, both of their losses were to, at the time, before yesterday, or as you look at the calendar right now, like the number 2 and number 4 team in the country. So how bad are they if your 2 losses are by a total of 4 points to 2 top 4 teams?
Yeah, and there's something to be said about Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a good team. They just have 2 very good losses.
Right.
And there's no doubt about that. We can go back a couple of years ago. I think Saban's last year, he lost his total games. I think he had 3 or 4 that year that he lost. It was by a matter of maybe it was 6 points.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
So
it was 0, and at one point in time, it was 2 losses by 3 points in 0 seconds.
yes, yeah.
That LSU game.
And then and the Tennessee game where they both kicked field goals at the end of the game.
So there's a small majority. So you can still sit there and say, with Notre Dame against, of course, 95% of the country, they're going to sit there and when you're trying to power rate them in a way, they're still going to be favored in a neutral site game.
Absolutely.
With Notre Dame over 95% of the teams in the country, right? So Notre Dame is still a very good team. If they were in this 1-loss territory, they would have a rival to Alabama.
Are they better than the other 1-loss teams? Or is Notre Dame better than a Vandy, a Missouri, a Georgia,
there's something
an Alabama?
I wouldn't say Georgia. I would say if Vandy and Notre Dame played on a neutral site today, Notre Dame wins. I think Missouri, Notre Dame probably wins. If Notre Dame gets through today and beats USC at home 20 years after the tush push, the original tush push, the OG, if you might, Notre Dame can go ahead and start buying their plane tickets to whatever SEC team they're going to play in the 8-9 or the 10-7 matchup. They're going to be on the road. They're going to be in the lower half of that, because they don't play in a conference championship game. And you have some crazy scenarios that could happen where you could get 2 ACC teams and 2 Big 12 teams in, and then the SEC and Big 10 are looking at each other going, all right, which one of us is getting 4 and which one of us is only getting 3?
So me and Pops were talking about this the other day, really thinking about, who is that? We talk about Big 10 and the playoff implications, okay, specifically with the Big 10. And I sat there and said, I don't know of all the 4 teams that the Big 10 would actually get in the playoff, because I can count 3. I can count Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon.
Yes.
Who was the 4th team in the Big 10 to actually get that playoff spot? Or does that go to Notre Dame and then they choose another playoff team from another conference?
You could talk me into Michigan, depending on how they do the rest of the season. They still have to play Ohio State. I don't know if you have a lot of Ohio State fans. Ask them how that game's gone the last 4 years.
But realistically, if you put Michigan in the playoff right now, what are they going to do?
I mean, well, what is the 4th team in the SEC going to do in the playoffs? They're going to lose on the road at Texas Tech, or
are they?
Yeah,
the 4th team in the SEC.
I think on the road,
which will be, because we're looking at Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Georgia would be your 4th team. Okay, or you're looking at a Vanderbilt. Maybe.
Could be Tennessee, could be Missouri.
My deepest apologies, because hold on, let me correct myself, because last night Nebraska was number 25 in the country. Yeah. They laid a complete egg against the Golden Gophers. USC is number 20. We sometimes forget that those California teams are Big 10 teams because somebody doesn't own a map. They are at Notre Dame today. So if USC beats Notre Dame today, is USC that 4th team? Is this a play-in game today?
Could be. Yeah.
Because USC's schedule for both of their schedules for the rest of USC is a 1-loss team. They're going to go on the road and beat Notre Dame today, if they did. Their schedule is weak sauce for the remainder of the season. Notre Dame, if they beat USC at home, their remaining schedule is pretty weak. I think the winner of this game is your 10 seed. I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
There's a lot of football still.
There's a lot of football
Yeah.
still played. Speaking of that, there's a lot of shows still to be happening. We got to get some commercials in here. 7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM. Jocks Huntsville. This is Off the Bench. We're going to get into some James Franklin stuff on the other side, how his firing affects and impacts the rest of the country in ways, and really just we're just going to connect it, kind of dissect the whole firing here, as well as the controversies that ensued on the football field in the SEC last weekend between the Deep South's oldest rivalry, if you will. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is Off the Bench. I'm your host, Kelsey Up on here. Of course, sitting to my left is Richie, co-host Richie.
Good morning.
Of course. And we have Pop sitting with us.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Across the screen over there. Bugsy and Walker hold it down back at the studio. And we're just having a fun time on this Saturday morning. It's rivalry week down in Alabama. Of course, Alabama, Tennessee this week. This is always a very high-stake game, especially for Alabama fans. Who is, I would say this is our most hated rival.
I posted on Facebook today. I hate Auburn because I have to. I hate Tennessee because I want to.
Yes, that's a good way to put it as well. Dad, I know you have more colorful language.
I can't say that word right.
That's how we'll put it here. All right. So this week, a lot of things happened, especially a lot of things what sparked on last Saturday. By midday Sunday, we learned of the fate of James Franklin at Penn State. He was inevitably fired with a $50 million buyout up there in Happy Valley. Dad, I know you're feeling so sorry for James Franklin with that money buyout.
The fate of $50 million.
Yeah, we all learned from Jimbo the perfect measurement stick on how to do this thing where you just become a head coach to get the money and then.
And what did Coach O say when they wanted to hand him a check on the way out?
Which door?
Which door? Yeah. And where can I pick up the check?
What was it? I heard like it's like $20,000 a day or something. It's like some stupid amount of money.
You know, I had it, and I don't know if I can actually find it here. I thought I had screenshotted how much he's actually going to make. Here we go. Per minute, he will make $15 over the next 6 years. He'll make $15 a minute. Per hour, he make $913 per day. 21,917 per week. 153,846, and per month he'll make $666,666.
I just blows my mind, and it's hard to fathom how these schools can continue to pay these coaches these outrageous amounts for the next 6 years.
And they're about to buy out another coach to become their next head coach.
Okay, and it starts off this chain, no different than what happened with Saban, right?
It's $100 million investment you're about to make, essentially, because you're not only did they fire James Franklin, okay, when this offseason hits, the coordinators are gone. Okay, they're gonna have to buy them out. Okay, that's another, we'll just put it into his perspective. Let's say that's 30. Let's say that's another 30 million. Okay, and then you've got to go out and buy out another head coach on top of paying them a paycheck. Okay, that's another astronomical amount of money, and then you've got to let him hire his own staff. Okay, and they'll keep on a couple of guys from the former coaching staff likely, but we're still going to see what's happening. So what we've heard throughout the week on how this directory is going, we've heard a couple names floated around now, right? Of course, we've heard Matt Campbell over at Iowa State. He's been a guy that a lot of people love for this job and think he's the perfect fit for this job at Penn State. Okay, we've gone through the realms of Matt Rule. Matt Rule's been floated around a lot for this job. Would he leave Nebraska after he's completely, especially not done with his rebuild there? His track record has been really good, building up from Temple to Baylor, and then he went from Baylor to the NFL, where he really didn't have a lot of success, came back to college. He rebuilt Temple and Baylor to a high level playing of football. He hasn't really done that with Nebraska yet. So I don't know if Matt Rule can leave Nebraska yet. I don't know if he'll let himself leave Nebraska.
I don't think he will. And the NFL stay goes back to what we talked about last week. I think some of these teams are just cursed to never be good.
Well, I think a lot of it, what has to do with especially college coaches moving into the realm of the NFL, is they're not used to the oversight of the owner and the general manager, right? Okay, so when these college coaches try to make moves in the NFL, Saban and Drew Brees, that whole drama, right? They didn't let him sign Drew Brees. A lot of it was because the injuries that Drew Brees had, he couldn't pass the physical, right? So the GM and the doctor, they were like, don't sign him.
Yeah.
And, Matt Rule kind of had the same issue in the draft. He wanted his own player. The GM wanted his player. They ended up selecting the GM's player. Okay, well, you mess up on one first-round pick in the NFL as a head coach, you're out the door likely in a lot of cases. So, a lot of times these college coaches, that's why they don't make it in the NFL. That's why they come back to college. So we still ask ourselves, would this be a moment for Matt Rule to leave? I don't think so.
And here's my 2 cents on that. Who do you think knows college players better, a college coach or was a college coach last season or a GM in the NFL?
Oh, college coach last season.
So why do you not let him pick his guy?
I 100% agree. I think, but
I will also add to this little contract of you having to fire James Franklin. I have never been so bad at a job that they wanted to pay me $50 million not to show back up.
I wish I was that bad of a job. I wish I had that skill.
Can we look at this pattern though? I mean, like the comments you just made to Franklin, you know, I wish I was so bad they paid me $50 million to walk out, or look at the when Clemson lost us 3 straight games, and you know, we're talking about Dab, I'm fine. I've just won 8 out of the last 10 ACC championships. So I'll ask you guys, do you think this was an overreaction?
Yes, 100%.
On Penn State's part.
I think this was by far an overreaction. He won I think 138 games over his time at Penn State, only losing 50,
right?
You know, something like that.
It
may have been 30. I don't remember the exact stat.
34.
So I'll play devil's advocate on this. I actually wrote a note here on my little notepad here. 3 weeks ago, we were talking, is Dabo out, and can James Franklin win the whole thing? And here we are 3 weeks later. James Franklin's out, and Dabo, nobody's.
That's the whole question mark. Why was he fired right now? I mean, I would always say, okay,
in the middle of the season.
In the middle of the season one, I think you should have given it time for him to recover and recuperate from these losses. Was he going to make the college football playoff? Probably not. But it's going to be weird to sit there and say, you know, we talk about the what ifs and how we could have went down this road. We're going to get more into it in the other side, as well as the controversies that ensued on the field down in Auburn last Saturday. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is Off the Bench. I'm your host, Kelsey Huffine over here. Sitting to my left is co-host Richie. We got Pops across off camera over here. Of course, we got Walker and Bugsy bringing it home back at the studio. You're locked in here. We've been talking a lot about, the controversy, what happened last week, of course, especially with Friday. We're about to get into the controversy that happened last week. Last night's game between Miami and Louisville, and now we're still hitting on the topic of, James Franklin's firing and how this is implicating the whole country. So we went through the process, of course, Matt Rule, and we've talked a little bit about Matt Campbell. So there was two other options that I thought were viable for what is going to happen up in Happy Valley. One, they're going to hire internally. Okay. And I think this is probably the most likely option, is to go with a coach that knows the players, has a good relationship with the players. In today's age in college football, I think this is probably a route that you're going to see a lot with these top tier programs, is they're going to start hiring internally to keep these players within Happy Valley, specifically right here. Your other option, which has been floated around this week, and I think it's more of a fear monger than anything, is maybe the want and the splash hire of hiring Kalen DeBoer away from Alabama, which would be what? How much would that buyout be? 40 at least?
It's 70 for.
Is it 70?
DeBoer, yeah.
It's 70
because I remember when the lottery got up to like 1.7 million, they interviewed some lady at a gas station. They asked her what she was going to do with the money. She said, the first 70 million, I buy it out DeBoer, which rolls into the entire conversation we were just talking about. Like, I kind of see devil's advocate on both sides of, was it an overreaction with Penn State? Kellen DeBoer James Franklin, great coach.
Yes.
Let me rephrase that. James Franklin, good coach. The opposite of great is not bad. The opposite of great is good. That is where the problems lie. If your kid comes home with a report card of all B's, you really can't get mad at them. You tell them, hey, do a little bit better, but good job with B's. Your kid comes home with all A's, we're going to throw a party, take you to Chuck E. Cheese, the whole 9 yards. They come home with D's and F's, it's grounded. You take their PlayStation away from them. Those two are real easy. What do you do when he comes home with a couple of B's, maybe a C in English, because he's not great at spelling? Not talking about myself at all right here. Which is what James Franklin was doing. He was a really, really good coach. He won a lot of football games, but he did not win the ones that mattered hardly ever, if at all.
It's what have you done for me lately with those games, right? They win those games. He wins one of those games, and next thing you know, he's playing for a national championship.
Well, even if he looks...
Well, he had the time to recover to get to the national championship. But when you lose to a team that just fired their head coach and has an interim head coach, not to mention, of course, Nico over there, which UCLA was probably the right team to do that. Like, if you had the idea of, okay, Nico's just going to have this jump week that he was supposed to be at Tennessee, right? A former 5-star quarterback, jumping over to the West Coast, which is likely rare nowadays, a 5-star quarterback jumping to the West Coast. That is the type of game that is the surprise, but we're like, okay, we kind of expected it. Okay, we thought this could happen in Nico's career, that he could have a game like this, but with a coach that was a interim head coach that is, was a positions coach earlier in the year. I mean, that's how it was. And then you go lose to Northwestern. Both those games you were favored by 20 points. You lost both of them.
He lost the locker room first.
Yes, I think he did. But the whole thing about this, why he wasn't given a chance to continue to compete for this whole year, Aller's done for the season. Yeah. Aller was done for the season at this point in time. When this was announced that he was fired, that was announced, I think, after the game,
right?
For the Northwestern game. Aller was done for the season. So I think your hopes for playoff implications were gone right there, anyways, with Aller out. But backups are still a thing. I just think you should have given him the opportunity. Don't fire him in the middle of the season. You could have saved on his buyout, put that towards a new head coach. You fire up in the offseason, okay? You just, I think it was a poor timing of the hire that there was a better outcome if you would have waited to the end of the season and fired him and then brought in a new staff. Now, the whole transfer portal is going to bring a whole nother world.
So let me stir the pot with something here, right? And for those that think Alabama impact and the Alabama standard is dead, they bring up Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
I mean, so is Alabama still the standard Okay, when there's a coaching vacancy, oh, fine, let's go get that guy that's just won 3 straight top 25 matchups down in the SEC. And if he wins today, he sets an SEC record for 4 straight.
What's the last head coach to win 3 consecutive ranked games? Can you name that
I think
coach?
it was 2016.
And who was that coach?
That would be Nick Saban.
Oh, at what school did he coach at?
That would be Alabama.
Oh, okay, just checking.
Now, it is a good thing, though. We need to sit here and remember it is a good thing to have a coach that is wanted by other programs.
Yes.
Okay, that is the biggest flattering, I guess, in college football. Will it actually happen?
Well, you were talking about how much money this costs everything.
Yeah, it is, but
it's not just what it costs Penn State.
It's
look at what Indiana did. Kirk Cignetti's name came up.
Cignetti's name came up, and they just gave him a
11.6 million.
For the next 8, I think. For the next 8.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
93 million total.
Same thing that happened with Norvell out of Florida State when he was flirted with the Alabama job. All this is agents getting in contact to put their client in better shape to get paid, because when this happens, of course, Cignetti had the Penn State, he had the Pennsylvania ties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what did Cignetti's agent do? Cignetti's agent goes, okay, we're gonna we're just going to imply about this job over here. We're going to look at this job, see if, there's mutual interest there. Well, obviously the connection was there, so the interest might be there. So when Indiana gets heard about this, right, the agent goes to Indiana and says, hey, we're looking at this job over here. It's looking pretty fine over here. I like this job. It looks cool. I think it's perfect for Kurt over here. Coach Sig at the Penn State sideline is going to look pretty good. It's going to mighty sexy over there. Okay, we'll lock him down. We'll lock him down. We'll pay him more.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened.
Well, if you think about Franklin, though, to bring it back, I mean, either an internal hire, they hire external. What do each of you guys think is going to happen here with this one?
And this is going to be an internal hire.
Yeah.
I keep the players.
Disagree. I think the president of the school wants to go make a complete change. I think he was tired of the James Franklin can win a bunch of games, but not the big one. If there was somebody on that staff that was able to win the big one, they wouldn't be on that staff.
So where does James Franklin go next season? Because he is a great head coach. Okay, he can go to any program. He's going to be the thing that I've said about this whole thing.
I was just going there.
The thing about it said about this whole thing, right? Okay, James Franklin. The problem Penn State's going to have if they hire externally, they cannot hire the best coach in the coaching portal, because James Franklin is the best coach in the coaching portal. Okay, he's going to be no matter what, even if the Billy Napier is fired. Okay,
I think Napier and Penn. You think Florida and Penn State flip coaches?
Well, they should have waited to the end of the season and traded for a coach to be named later.
You trade coaches in college football.
What is the impact of the transfer portal right now? Let's say I'm a player at Penn State.
Well, you've seen.
Can I just say I'm in the portal right now?
You have 30 days.
You have 30 days, but you've already played 4 games this year, so your eligibility is used up this year.
For that year.
Yes, if you've played 4 games, your eligibility is moved up. Now, they have had decommitments already. I know DeBoer's already offered a 5-star wide receiver that was committed to Penn State. Now he decommitted.
Rotad.
Yes. So the shifting gears are already happening at Penn State. And what's going to happen? I think Franklin's going to end up somewhere else.
So, let's think about
this. He's an SEC coach. He coached Vanderbilt.
Coach Vanderbilt. Let's think about this, though. What happened with Alabama when Saban decides he's going to retire and that portal opened in a weird window?
This is why you hired him.
And it was not complete exodus Alabama, but, we lost to Caleb Downs. We lost Julian Sand. We lost the receiver that went to Texas, Isaiah Bond. All right. So was the timing in the middle of the season then the better option for the university, for the coach?
Yeah, that's what I was saying about the transfer portal, because it's a little weird now, because if you hit the portal, you're going to be in the portal for a long time.
Because the only people that can pick you up right now are people who fired their head coach.
Now, what you could do is kind of like what the Wisconsin corner did last year. He completely unenrolled from the school and re-enrolled in Miami, which did spark a lot of things, but I don't know where that case went. I don't remember if that case was ever actually handled, because he ended up at Miami.
Yeah,
he had got out of his NIL and went there because Wisconsin blocked his transfer portal window. So theoretically, if you just unenrolled from Penn State right now and re-enrolled in another school, would you be eligible the next day?
I guess it would have to be a school that still has open enrollment. Which how many schools is that?
Well, that's true.
I mean, I don't think I could enroll at Alabama or UAB or anything right now. Could James Franklin end up at Auburn? But speaking of Auburn and speaking of paying people, the SEC referees.
I'd be paid by Georgia.
Yeah.
The controversy that ensued. So we, of course, went long again. So we're going to take a quick break here and talk about this right on the other side. But I disagree with you on the James Franklin situation.
Okay.
Kiffin's in Florida. James Franklin's at Ole Miss. That's how this transfer portal, coaching portal is going to go. This is Off the Bench, 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. If you want to look in, watch us on YouTube, you could do so. Get in the comments over there. And, of course, just interact with us. We'll hit us up, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about on the show here today. You can also get us up on Facebook. You have until 11 o'clock to get your picks in on Facebook. Just go over there at Off the Bench on Facebook. On YouTube, we are at Off the Bench CFB show. We're just having a fun time this Saturday morning. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. 7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is Off the Bench. I am your host, Kelsey Huffine. To my left over here is co-host Richie. Across from us, we have Pops, of course, and Walker and Bugsy holding it down at the station. We are getting ready to get into what the controversy that happened last week between Auburn and Georgia. But first, John Paul hitting us up on YouTube. The refs completely rigged the Auburn-Georgia game because they want Georgia to end up in the playoffs.
Hold on, before we get into that, I want to say something real quick because you were ready to pounce on John Paul right now. Two things: if you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell. Do us a favor, please. Send it to your friends, family, your ex. I don't care. Send it to everybody.
Grandma, grandpa, just let them know. You can teach them about the game.
Share the link.
We'll
Let's see how many people can get online.
Second of all, I know they can't hear the intro music. That intro music makes me want to go run through a brick wall and onto a field. I don't know why that one always gets me every week, but that intro music gets me every week.
Yeah, it's true. If you're listening on the radio side, of course, you can hear the intro music, but on YouTube, we have not been able to figure out why, but we cannot get that audio over to the YouTube side. So we're just kind of going in blank there. All fun and games here. We do have great intro music. And I have been going back and forth on if we want to change that up to actual music, but that would only be for the second hour. We can't do that on YouTube, of course.
I like the intro we got for YouTube. Maybe keep them a little separate.
Yeah, we'll see what we have to do. All right, so getting into the conversation, of course, we just wrapped up on James Franklin and what really we think is going to happen. Of course, we don't think the board's going to leave Alabama. I think James Franklin might end up at Ole Miss. I think Kiffin might end up at Florida. A lot of things that could happen there. A lot of things that we could keep going down this road.
A lot of I thinks.
I thinks. I mean, that's what in the stage we are in the middle of the season, especially the timing of this hire. So getting into this conversation,
Georgia Auburn.
Did he call timeout? Did he call timeout?
Okay.
Is hitting the ring finger on YouTube side? You can see this because this is what he was doing. He was pretty much hitting his wedding ring on his hand. Okay, and he's saying they're clapping. Now the interview that I heard was he was saying they were clapping.
I think
on the defensive side.
I think he was calling timeout.
Yes.
To tell the refs they're clapping.
Which, to be fair with Kirby Smart, they do this. Auburn has done this for years. They have done this since Gus.
Yeah,
they clap on the defensive side to mess with the timing on the offensive side. It's a false start on the defensive side. It's a 10-yard penalty.
Yep, should be every time.
Yes,
every time a defensive player claps. It doesn't
get called half the time around the country. It just does not.
And it doesn't get
called
75% of the time.
It's just not Auburn doing it.
It's not just Auburn doing it. I just know Auburn, especially inside Jordan Hare, they have a history of doing that.
Well, so for those of you that know football, a lot of times what happens when you get a loud stadium, the call on the field by the snap call is a clap or a slap on the right guard's leg or something like that. So it's an audible that the offensive line knows when that ball is going to be snapped. So when the defense comes up and they're clapping,
it's a mistiming, try to cause the fumble, something like that, bad snap.
So I honestly think it was both. They should have given him the timeout. It should have been a timeout because he did call timeout to tell the official they're clapping.
Yes.
Now, the problem is the official should have came and said, this is what happened. This is why, A, we didn't call a timeout. B, why we didn't give them a delay a game, something.
So Richie's taking the route of the officials. Really, I'd say this in any conference need to be held accountable. And I am to the thing of I think these officials should have to do a press conference after the game.
I would be perfectly fine.
Join the press conference. Hey, how bad was that call on the goal line?
What was with that call on the goal line? What was with the timeout calls? And that's the other. We only have a couple minutes here. That's the other thing we want to talk about too. Was it a touchdown? Why was it called the way it was?
So the ACC has this right.
Yes.
You can, if you watch an ESPN last night, the Miami game, the ACC, you can hear them talking. This is what we see. Here's from video A. Here's from video B. My thing, and I have said this since day one of the review process, the second that official hits that hood and is underneath there looking at the screen, a 2-minute clock should start. He has 2 minutes to make that call. If he cannot make that call in 2 minutes, the call on the field stands. I do not care what the call on the field was. It stands. We move on to football. If you've got to watch it from 92 angles and slow it down to the wingspan of a swallow to figure out the wind speed of a swallow to figure out if he crossed the line or not, 2 minutes, make the call, move on, play football.
That specific game, if my memory serves me right, it took 32 minutes to play the last minute and 40-something seconds.
Yeah, it was 32 minutes.
First half.
Yep.
All because of replays. There were 4 plays in a row where they went under the hood to watch the replay. And, something to add to this conversation, it's almost like these instant replays need to be watched real time, not super slow. Anybody can slow it down to a point of time where you're at a fraction of a second. That's what that goal line play was. Was he across? Was the tip of that football across? They were trying to stitch things, and that replay took 10 minutes.
Yeah. 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. We're getting into all the college football talk this morning, having fun with it, of course. And we're going to be ending it here on the YouTube side, just going straight to radio in the next hour. You can find us on iHeart, 7:30 a.m., 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville. This is Off the Bench. We'll be back on the other side.